Hey guys, and welcome to this new Create Sim video. So this past few days I've been feeling really weird. I've been feeling sad and really anxious for no real reasons. And whenever I had to go out of my apartment, I was feeling even more anxious. I was almost having a panic attack because I had to go out, and I don't know why. It was just so weird, and it's still ongoing. I'm feeling a little bit better right now, but I'm still feeling really stressed out, and I have this kind of weird feeling in my stomach, and I have no idea why. I'm just really stressed out. And those past few days, just like whenever that happened to me, you know, feeling anxious and sad, I have this weird reflex to dress myself in a particular way. Because when I was in high school, I started wearing this kind, or actually I started dressing up as this kind of grungy, tomboyish style with really large clothes and big boots and, checked shirts and things like that. This kind of tomboyish, grungy style, as I like to call it. It's not really grungy, but it's close enough. And recently I've been wearing this type of clothes a lot because this is the only way that I can feel ready to face the world and go out of my apartment. And this makes me feel stronger, especially with my big boots. I actually stopped wearing those a couple years ago because they hurt my feet really bad, and I've been wearing sneakers for the past few years, but recently I really felt like I needed to wear those to feel strong enough to go out, to face the world, face people, and not feel threatened by those people outside. And it helped me a bit, and this is actually why I had the idea of creating a sim that would be wearing the type of clothes that I wish I could be wearing if I had a bit more money, or if I had a bit more style, because I'm really far away from being a really stylish person. So this is how this sim came to be. So her name is Layla, and it actually took me a while to find her name, because usually when I create a sim, I just start by their face, and then I start their body, and then I try to find their style, and so on and so forth. And this is how their personality comes to my mind, and then a name just pops up, and this is how I'm going to call this sim from now on. But for this sim, at the end of the Create a Sim, I still had no idea how to call her, but I had an idea of who she was. And for me, she's someone really sweet who went through really tough things, and this is why her style is so rough and so harsh looking in a way. And I think she's, as I said, really sweet, so I wanted for her name to reflect that, and I decided to call her Layla. This is a name that I found on a website. I have no idea which website. I opened like three different pages just to find a name, and I came across Layla, and I don't know, this name just resonated in my mind, and I felt like it was her name, and this name means sweetheart or sweet, and this was just perfect for her. Because Layla, she went through really tough things when she was growing up. She grew up in a really dysfunctional family and household, and she's really not close to her parents. I think she ran away from them as soon as she could. She's not close to her brothers or sister if she had some. And she used to have friends, but then, you know, life goes on, and they all went to college. She also went to college or university. I still have a little bit of difficulty to make the difference between the two. But anyway, she went to do some study, and she started studying over there. But as time went on, she didn't feel great where she was, because people, her teacher mostly, were always telling her that she wasn't good enough, that she wasn't made for what she was studying, that she was sometimes maybe too lazy, even though she's not, because her aspiration is to become a Renaissance sim, and she loves learning things. She's just not made to fit in a box, which is what her teachers wanted for her to be. You know, they wanted for her to fit in a box, be just like all of the other students, and they never really saw the potential that she had. How smart she was and how fast she can learn things if those things were taught to her really well. So she decided to leave college, to leave all of her friends behind, unfortunately, because they decided to go on a path that she didn't want to follow, and she wanted to stay true to herself, and so she left them and she started an entirely new life. Now she has a part-time job that allows her to pay for her bills, to pay for her food, And she's now learning a bunch of things from books, from websites, from sometimes night classes that she goes to just learn things because she loves that. But as I said, she went through a lot of tough things, and this is why she decided to start wearing those type of clothes. She has this really rough style, as I said, this really hard style to herself, to protect herself from the exterior world, to protect herself from all of those people around her that might hurt her at some point. And this has worked a lot throughout the years, but she's starting to feel alone and kind of in an exile, away from, a relationship, a simple friendship with someone else. She has a lot of trouble trusting someone else. Just sharing her feelings and her thoughts with someone else is for her a threat, because she thinks that this is going to backfire at her at some point. Because this is something that happened to her in the past. And she's still really nice. She's really sweet. She wouldn't hurt a fly. She would never hurt anybody on purpose. But even though she's so nice, sometimes she can be quite violent. Not physically, but with her words. The words that she's using are the words that she wants to use, but she doesn't really understand that those words can hurt other people, and this is why some people are actually getting away from her and trying to protect themselves from her, even though they kind of admire her, because she's, without knowing it, really charismatic. And whenever she enters a room, everybody notices her. Whenever she speaks, everybody just shut up and listen to her. And by the way, she never really used long sentences. She just go right to the point, and she's most of the time right. But she even doesn't really believe in her. On that point, she always thinks that what she's saying might be wrong, even though she's always right, or most of the time she's right, just because nobody ever believed in her, so she has a really hard time believing in herself. And this idea that her name was Layla, and that this name means sweet, and that deep inside her she's that really sweet person, and compared to this style that she has, this really harsh and rough style, I thought this was perfect for her personality, because she has this kind of conflicted personality, I feel like what I'm saying doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm so sorry, but this is kind of a rough thinking, I created her maybe a couple hours ago, and I have to say that I'm in love with her. I love her very, very much, and she's a rough person, she went through a bunch of tough things, hard situation to go through that maybe most people would have just given up, and she's still on her feet, and she always gets back on her feet whenever something bad happens to her. And she's just a really strong person. Now, as I was creating her, I really saw this kind of conflict between these two parts of herself. This part that wants to protect herself, and this other part that needs to have just a social contact with someone else. So I think she wants to open up to someone else, just share some feelings, share some thoughts, but she's still really afraid that something bad might happen to her at some point. But she knows that what she needs to do to be happy is just to open up to someone else and try to just get out of her shell and take a risk. But she's really afraid of doing so, just like probably anybody would be, taking a risk. It's kind of really scary. But I don't know, I really, really enjoyed creating her because of that, because there's something deep into her personality, into her character and who she is. And I just had so much fun creating her, first of all because of her style, and I really, really enjoyed creating her style, and I hope that you guys liked it too. And also her personality and who she is, and this is how I'm imagining her. But I would be really curious to see you guys, or actually hear from you guys, what you think about her. And if you ever play with her, I would be really curious to see where you're taking her. Either you're playing as her, or you're playing a sim that gets to know her, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I would be really curious to see what happens in your own gameplay with Layla. But anyway, you guys, I'm going to leave you here, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you in the next one.
day.